Hey everyone. Yeah, at the moment you can't see me. My apologies for that. The server that's supposed to arrange that is down. Apparently there are some problems with Cloudflare servers. So yeah, I'm not in the camera doesn't work right now, so my apologies. But it is the 18th day of the Golden Quill Month, and I hope it's going great for you. So far, I have to say, I did some research this morning, because I found out that one of the three princes doesn't have a dragon yet. You know, it's quite essential that he has a dragon companion, I should say. In Tecne, dragons are not owned, or at least if you are a dragon companion, that's not how you feel about that. There are other groups of people who might feel different, and you will see that in the story. But I found that I hadn't found a dragon for Finlay yet. So yeah, I did some research this morning, and I got the idea, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. Seamys' dragon is inspired by a gecko, which is a land-based animal. Nejat's dragon is inspired by a tropical kingfisher. That is a bird, which is both tied to land and to the water, because after all, it gets its food from the water. You'll also often find kingfishers near the edge of the water. They will build their nests close to the water, so they're really kind of both. And I was thinking that I could look for inspiration for Finlay's dragon in the water. So with tropical fish, for example. So let me know what you guys think about that. And if you have ideas for that. Because Finlay is a man. Well, in Go Fly, he's still a teenager. He's 14. But he grows up to be a man who is, as he told me, a tastefully flamboyant man. So no screaming colors, but colorful, tastefully colorful. So I was wondering, am I going to emphasize that with the colors of the dragon, or does he have a dragon companion who has colors that are dull, or more dull, not as colorful as he is? I'm not sure about that. So I guess I need to do some more research on that, because I honestly don't know. It's just... But before I go any further, let me check if you guys actually have sound, because that would be very handy. I want to make sure of that. So let's see. Yes, you guys have sound. Perfect. That's excellent. I'm happy to hear that. I mean, it's sometimes things just go weird. I mean, sometimes the sound just won't work, and then I need to fix that, or other things won't work. Now it's the camera. I mean, the camera in my phone works perfectly. That's not the problem. But the program that I use to get the camera connected to my streaming software can't work because Cloudflare doesn't work. So yeah, there's that, and that's something I can't fix on my own. It seems to be a worldwide problem, and we'll just need to wait until that is solved. So that's all we can do. So yeah, I mean, sometimes you have these moments when you think that you have covered all your bases, you've done everything you can, and then these kind of things happen. Well, it's all part of the process. I mean, yeah, it's all part of life. And sometimes things will just go excellently, and sometimes you run into things like that, like this. So yeah, that happens. So we'll just have to wait and see until that is solved. By the way, for those who don't know me, my name is Ilse. I am a magic-wielding dragon companion and a creator of worlds. And Tagene is the world I created for the book series that I'm currently writing and the short story, novelette, whatever it may turn out to be, that I'm writing as well, or rather, currently. And once that is finished, I will continue writing my main series again. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. I'm also part of the Fantasy Tavern Discord, which should now be linked in the chat. Yes, there we have it. And it is also linked in the show notes below in the description box, so be sure to check it out. If you are looking for feedback or a sparring partner, or you just want to celebrate milestones, or you'd like ideas about how to solve problems in your story or in your writing process, feel free to join our Discord. We are there for published and unpublished authors. We do specialize in fantasy, but we welcome all authors of all genres. So yeah, that's it. So what I want to do today is dive into another creative session of 1 hour. And that's, for me, that works at the moment. Relatively okay, I should say. So yeah, I wish you all a lot of fun with it. And I want to give you something to think about before we jump into the creative session. I was, well, I won't say triggered about it, but something got me thinking. I saw a video on YouTube from some kind of government organization here in the Netherlands, or from a news outlet. I'm not entirely sure. And I think it was a very good one. It was about how to prepare for cases of emergency, being the loss of power, flooding, things like that. What kind of things do you need in your home, and what kind of preparations do you need to take to be able to prepare for that? Let me check one thing. Oh, okay, I don't know. Sometimes you'll hear some vibrations. I don't know why it is, because the phone shouldn't do that. Anyways. They told us how to, or what to prepare, what package to prepare, what do you need in case, for example, the power goes out, or that for some reason we don't have gas anymore, so we can't cook. If you have a cooking station that's based on gas, so the loss of gas, if you still have power, I mean, if you have an oven, you can still cook. I have a stove that's, is it also called induction in English? So that's purely electrical, so no problem there. But if I don't have power and I have no gas, yeah, I'll need to think about that. So I have a really tiny barbecue. So I could prepare my meat on that. I might also be able to prepare some potatoes or something. So I'd have to think about that, but I think I can make it work. I have to be honest, I don't know how I would, for example, prepare rice on a barbecue. But it's something I'm going to try out. Because, I mean, that's, if you have no power, you have nothing, and you still need to cook rice, how do you do that? And it also can give you insight into how people used to do that before we had the stoves, before we had ovens. People had literally barbecues, campfires, to make their food. And people had cooking pots over a live fire, as in a wood fire, to prepare their food. So how is that done? How do you prepare rice in such a case? How do you do that? And make sure that it doesn't burn and that it's still cooking correctly, etc., etc. So yeah, those are all things to think about. So how do you do that? So that's something I'd like to try out, to research and to try out to see how that works, and could I make it work myself? And that's not only because I'm curious, but it's also something that might help me in the future. Just in case something might happen. I mean, I don't expect a flood here where I live, but large parts of the Netherlands could have floods. Now, where I live, we are in a higher area, so and we have a canal, but we don't have rivers in the neighborhood. So that might save us, for lack of a better word. And our water organizations, I don't know the exact English term for that. Our water organizations, they are very well capable of getting excess water out of our streams and such. So, but when you have a real flood of a river, then you have a problem. But like I said, we don't have a river here in the neighborhood. We don't have a river close by. But we do have canals. So, but they will move the water towards the sea. So where I live, it is not expected that we would get flooded. And in case of the melting of the ice caps, for example, it's not expected that the height of the water would get to where I live, while parts of the Netherlands will get underwater. So that's an issue. Because in case you don't know, our country is called the Netherlands, which is basically, well, it was used to call a really rough translation is the lower lands, and as we said here in the Netherlands, the lage landen, because we are a couple of meters under the sea level. Most of the Netherlands is. So, yeah, that's an issue. Now, we have all kinds of sluices and I'm at the loss for the English terms, dikes, but we have a whole system to keep the water out. We've had that since the flooding in 1953 in Zealand. It's not New Zealand, it's our province, Zeeland. That was flooded in 1953. And that's when we started, or the Netherlands started with the, okay, let's call it the waterworks. to make sure that our land wouldn't be flooded anymore. And we have become that good in it that now we also have to deal with drought, because we're so good at getting the water out that sometimes we have drought where otherwise we might not have had it. So yeah, that's nowadays we have to look for a balance. But there are several organizations which are very good at that. And that all to tell you guys to think about that emergency package. What do you have in it? Here they advise us to have a radio and batteries that will work with FM, so that you can still hear emergency broadcasts, things like that. Things like candles, matches, food for and or at least for 72 hours, food, water, but also really things like your emergency kit, like bandages, medicine, things like that, your personal medication, but also things like hygiene pads, disinfection gel, things like that. So how do people in your world do that? How are they prepared for emergencies? Are they supposed to prepare for emergencies? Things like that. So think about that when we go into our first and only of today writing session of 60 minutes. I wish you all a lot of fun, and I will see you in 60 minutes on the other side. That is the end. That is the end of our creative session. How did it go for you guys? I have to say, I'm relatively satisfied. I found the name for Seamys, Finlay's dragon, so that's good. And I found a few other things that might be. How shall I say that? That might cause some friction or tension or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, it's good. I'm relatively satisfied about it. Let's check in with the chat. Shannon, thank you for coming in. You made friends with the like button. Thank you so much. And Tish, you also came in, you made it over, you're going to cook a quick breakfast. I hope it tasted well. And you're working on chapter 16. That's going excellent. And people, dear audience members, for those who don't know Tish and Shannon, they are awesome authors, so check them out. Let me give you the link to their channels. Here we go. Yes, there we go. They have both released books and they're awesome. So be sure to check them out because it's so fun to follow them and to participate in their live streams as well. Tish, you say hi to Shannon. Kingfisher morning, yeah. And let's see, Tish, you say it seems like Cloudflare is out everywhere, most of all the social media platforms. Yeah, and that's that's not handy. Let me put it that way. As you guys can see, there's no camera showing me because the server through which I send the camera footage from my phone to OBS, my streaming software, uses Cloudflare apparently. So yeah, that doesn't work. So that's not that handy. But okay. Shannon, you're running around already, getting ready for the day. Also about to help the kiddo out with his school clothes. And then you'll be heading out to the bus stop. I hope it all goes well and that he managed to be on time for the bus stop. I may have not have kids of my own, but I do remember what it's like, and I do remember how the kids of my best friend are and were when they were still young. So yeah. Right. Earlier today, we already got a message. I think in the morning, at the end of the morning, we got a message that one of the hospitals here in the Netherlands wasn't accepting any patients anymore and was canceling all appointments because they couldn't get to the information because they too use the services of Cloudflare. So that's really an issue. And Shannon, I hope it all went well. For sure about the busy day. And a good deed. Yes, Tish, indeed. And you were still here finishing your breakfast and writing. Excellent, excellent. And Shannon, you're back getting set up for your own live stream. And the audience, it's in about 5 minutes, Shannon will do her live stream. And she has usually, Shannon, please correct me if I'm wrong, but you usually do live streams also of an hour, right? So be sure to check out Shannon at 3 p.m. or in 7 minutes at the moment. That's my 3 p.m. So that's the link to Shannon's YouTube channel. My apologies. Shannon, you say it went well with the kiddos and everything. Excellent. And yes, 1 hour long sprints. Perfect. And you like the longer ones. Yeah, I found I used to do a sprint of 25 minutes and then have a break of 5 minutes. But at the moment, it seems that's a bit too much for my brain to handle. While when I'm just taking an hour instead of multiple sessions, and just one session of an hour instead of, I don't know, 3 or 4 multiple sessions and chats in between. This 1 hour seems to work for me. So yeah, and I mean, I do a little bit of research and writing and world building and such, and it all works together in this hour. So that's good. Shannon, you say you also did shorter ones for a long time. Yeah, the Pomodoros, indeed. Yes, yes. And they interrupted your flow of work. Yeah, it's maybe that's also why my brain had so much trouble with it. I don't know. At the same time, with how my brain works currently, it still has problems focusing. So it's so weird that working 1 hour in my manuscript and in my writing project, that works, while having those 2 Pomodoro sprints, that somehow doesn't work. Probably because I also have those chats in between that might be longer than 5 minutes, and the chat before and the chat after. I don't know. Maybe it's that why my brain couldn't handle it anymore. But this works, so that's good. That's good. So yeah. It's so weird how things can work, but for me, as long as it works, it works. And like during this sprint, I knew that I needed a name for that one dragon. I needed to figure out a few other things, and I got it all, and it works. And I even have a moment, or included information that might bring tension in the future. It might bring tension in the next chapter even, but it also might bring tension between the short story and the main series, and between the short story and the confectioner series. So things might have more influence, or I should say it differently. What's happening in this short story or novelette or whatever it's going to be has influence on the main story and the time between, because there's a time difference of 10 years between this story and the main storyline, and I already have seeds planted, or that's still such a weird expression to me. I've planted seeds, but you know, the expression is, if I understand it correctly, the expression is you've planted seeds, but you don't plant seeds, you sow seeds. So maybe something gets lost in translation, but yeah, that expression doesn't make sense to me. Anyways, the expression is, I planted some seeds for the future, for both the future in this story, in this short story, but also in the Confectioner series and in the main series. So it will be fun to find out how it's gonna work. But for now, I thank you all for coming. And Shannon, you say planting seeds sounds fine to you. Yeah, it's. I don't know. Maybe it's because planting for me is like you plant a seedling, while you just sow a seed. You just put it in the ground and that's it. But maybe that's the part that gets lost in translation. Oh, you say it means the same as sow seeds, but sow seeds you think is an older expression. Oh, okay. Interesting. I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah, for me, sowing a seed seems more logical than planting a seed. It's the action for me that says it's weird. I know it's the correct expression, but it doesn't. I know. I don't know. It feels weird. But that's maybe because I'm non-native English, so in the translation and knowing how things work is it works differently in my mind, I think. And then you say sow your seeds is also an euphemism. Oh, I never heard that. For a guy getting around with a lot of girls. Oh, wow. That's okay. Holy, yeah. I think you spelled euphemism right. Yeah, I think that's the correct way. But I'm not native, so not native English, but I think that's the correct way, yeah. a guy getting around with a lot of girls sewing. Oh my god, yeah. I can see where that's coming from. Shannon, I wish you a wonderful live stream. I'll be checking in a bit later with you because I need to get some things for dinner. So I'll be checking in with you later. And everyone, I wish you all a wonderful time with Shannon's live stream and with your creative month this month. And I will see you all tomorrow again. Tomorrow I will stream later because I have appointments during the day. So I will stream at 7 p.m. my time, so that's about 4 hours from now. So I will see you all tomorrow. Have fun and see you later in Shannon's live stream.